In the event of an emergency such as a hurricane, there are a number of organizations that assist those in need. Since 1912, the American Red Cross has offered preventative and recovery services to our area and now covers 18 counties in Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia. Although our area has not fallen in the direct path of a hurricane in decades, every year the Red Cross organizes services and assistance just in case we do, including the distribution of preventative information, recruitment of volunteers, and shelter setup.
In Duval County alone, we have what we call 16 primary shelters. Those are going to be opened first in the event of a disaster or the event a hurricane is coming to our community. So those are going to be happening very quickly, so we have to have the resources and the people in place. That's all going on prior to evacuation orders being given.
Because we have not been hit recently, many residents in our area do not completely prepare for hurricane season, something that could be very dangerous.
People that come from communities that have been impacted, they get it. People that have experienced a disaster, they understand. But if you're in a community that's never been hit, or you're in a community that hasn't been hit, like in our case since 1964, and you've been here, then you just get very complacent.
The most simple way to prepare your home is to gather items for your emergency supply kit.
What we're going to do here is kind of go through the basics. This is kind of your bare minimum, okay? So what the things we're going to talk about is you really need to have these things. Okay, copies of your important documents. Inside your important documents, things like copies of your will, your important papers, anything that represents who you are and what you own and what you and your family may need to go and apply for assistance. Putting them in a Ziploc type bag, keeping them secure and sealed, that becomes a very important part. During Katrina, that was the top 3 things that people did not have, was copies of their important papers and identification. Then next is having things like your medications and your eyeglasses. This is the time to be looking at them, writing all of them down, making sure that you understand what you and your family members take on a regular basis. If a storm was approaching the area, calling your pharmacist now, calling your doctor, and getting at least a minimum of a 2-week supply. Then moving over to your tools and supplies. Those are things like your radios, your flashlights, your extra batteries, your cell phones, the kind of tools and things that you and your family are going to need. Again, this is your bare minimum. Then moving over into your personal hygiene. The traditional things that you would normally have, your soap, your toothbrush, your toothpaste, your hand shampoo, those types of normal things, whether you're staying in your home or you're going, you'll want to have those in your kit. Then we get to the fun stuff, the food. There's lots of new stuff out there. Obviously, you want to get things that you eat right outside of a can. And think about it. If you do not eat Vienna sausages today, you're not going to want to eat them during times of disaster. So here at the Red Cross, every year we go and buy canned goods, and then we open them and we eat them right out of a can. You want a gallon of water per person per day, or you can go and purchase things like these 5-gallon carriers. What these allow you to do is to take and fill your water up right before either you're going into your safe room or you're going to evacuate. And instead of carrying, gallons of water, now you have a 5-gallon container. Filling up your bathtubs and sinks, you don't want to drink that water. That's just for cleaning and for washing purposes. One of the other critical pieces, obviously, is your first aid kit. Things for your, your cuts and your scrapes, severe bleeding, things for your shock rescue blanket, your triangular bandages, your gloves, and your tape. That has become a really critical piece, as well as learning CPR and first aid.
In addition, those with small children, elderly relatives, and pets should carefully consider what other items will be required in their supply kit.
This is essentially can be for some people life and death, and we don't want to scare anyone, but the time it takes to prepare a kit, the time it takes to put together a plan is relatively small. The cost to do it isn't much. If you take the time to put together a kit, build a plan, and make sure that you and your family members know what their role is in the event something happens, then you're going to be better prepared. So it's not that much of a commitment, but more importantly, we know from an organizational standpoint that people that take the time to get prepared come out of disasters physically, emotionally, and mentally better off, and financially better off than those that are not prepared.
For more information on hurricane preparedness, contact the American Red Cross and check out jacksonville.com/hurricanes. For jacksonville.com, I'm Amanda Warford.